I mean,
Yes,
Eleanor
they do.
Roosevelt, to those who didn't like her, she was a heroine to millions of Americans, and to millions of others, she was a busybody.
But, yes, but she had a terrible time. She really had a terrible time.
The role of First Lady in the United States has evolved significantly over time, blending tradition with modern expectations. Initially, the role was largely ceremonial, involving hosting events and supporting the president, but many First Ladies have expanded their influence, advocating for social causes and engaging in policy initiatives. Eleanor Roosevelt set a precedent with her activism and public engagement, while Jacqueline Kennedy focused on arts and historic preservation. First Ladies like Michelle Obama with her health and education initiatives, and Jill Biden continuing her teaching career while advocating for education in military families, have further redefined the role. While not an elected position, the First Lady has significant cultural and sometimes political influence, shaping public perceptions and contributing to various social and policy issues through their unique platforms. But there were some First Ladies who, let's just say, were considered to be not so easy to deal with. Melania Trump.
Life as normal as possible for my son Baron, and I'm a full-time mom, and I love it. So I decided not to be in the campaign so much, but I support my husband 100%.
Melania Trump, the former First Lady, was often regarded by staff and insiders as one of the more difficult First Ladies to deal with. Her tenure was noted by a series of challenges, misunderstandings, and controversies that contributed to this perception. One of the primary reasons for this reputation was Melania's highly private and independent nature. Unlike her more public-facing predecessors, Melania maintained a low profile, which made it challenging for staff to predict her actions or align them with broader White House strategies. This independence was often seen as aloofness or uncooperativeness, complicating efforts to integrate her initiatives with those of the administration. Her preference for a smaller, more loyal circle of advisors also contributed to her reputation as difficult. This insularity meant that many staff members had limited access to her, leading to communication gaps and misunderstandings. The small team that did work closely with her often had to navigate her specific preferences and high standards, which could be demanding and exacting. Staff turnover within the East Wing was notably high, suggesting that many found the work environment challenging. One of the most publicized instances of her challenging demeanor was her reported conflict with then White House Chief of Staff John Kelly. According to reports, Melania demanded the firing of Deputy National Security Advisor Mira Ricardel, allegedly over a seating dispute during a trip to Africa. This rare public intervention by the First Lady led to Ricardel's ouster, showcasing her willingness to assert her influence behind the scenes. Another incident that underscored the difficulties in dealing with Melania was her controversial fashion choices, particularly the "I really don't care, do you" jacket worn during a visit to a migrant child detention center in Texas. The jacket sparked widespread outrage and confusion, with critics accusing her of insensitivity. Staff members were reportedly blindsided by the decision, struggling to manage the ensuing public relations crisis. Melania's later explanation that the jacket was a message to the media rather than the children failed to quell the backlash. Melania's approach to the role of First Lady was also marked by her reluctance to move into the White House immediately after the inauguration. She chose to stay in New York City until her son Barron finished his school year, a decision that added logistical and security challenges for the staff. This separation from the traditional setting of the White House created additional hurdles for those trying to coordinate her activities and integrate her into the broader administration's schedule. But despite these challenges, it's important to recognize that Melania also brought a unique perspective and set of priorities to the role. Her focus on children's issues, albeit controversial, highlighted significant social problems. Her emphasis on maintaining privacy and a sense of normalcy for her son Barron was also understandable from a personal standpoint. Melania's tenure as First Lady was marked by a series of challenges that contributed to her reputation as one of the more difficult First Ladies to deal with. Her independent nature, specific preferences, and controversies that arose presented significant hurdles for staff, shaping the perception of her as a complex and often challenging figure. Hillary Clinton.
And some people say that there are Americans who don't feel totally comfortable with that because they're not sure how much influence you have. And after all, you were not elected.
Hillary Clinton's tenure as First Lady from 1993 to 2001 was marked by a distinctive and active involvement in political and policy issues, setting her apart from many of her predecessors. This assertive approach also contributed to a reputation of being difficult to work with, particularly among the White House staff and Secret Service agents assigned to protect her. One of the most contentious aspects of her time as First Lady was her unprecedented level of involvement in policymaking. She was appointed to lead the Task Force on National Health Care Reform, a role that brought her into direct confrontation with many political figures and interest groups. Her efforts to overhaul the healthcare system, though well-intentioned, were met with substantial resistance and ultimately failed. The ambitious scope of the project and Hillary's direct, sometimes combative style led to friction with both political allies and opponents. Critics often found her uncompromising and difficult to negotiate with. And her interactions with the Secret Service contributed to her reputation for being a bit difficult. According to accounts from some agents, her demeanor could be a little curt and dismissive. An explosive claim from the book The First Family Detail by Ronald Kessler alleges that Hillary told one agent to F off and criticized another by saying his suit looked cheap. Such incidents, whether isolated or indicative of a broader pattern, painted a picture of a demanding and harsh personality. The book also suggests that for some agents, being assigned to Hillary's detail was seen as a form of punishment. Hillary's strong personality and high expectations extended to her relationships with White House staff as well. She was known for her meticulous attention to detail and high standards, which, beneficial in many respects, also made her tough to work for. Staff members often found themselves under intense scrutiny, and the pressure to meet her expectations could be overwhelming. This led to turnover rates among her team, as some staffers struggled to cope with the demanding work conditions. Jill Biden.
Madam First Lady,
Jill.
I can't. I can't.
No, we were just
we owe you the
not to
respect.
say
Yeah,
call
we
you
would.
Jill.
Yeah.
We owe you
Who said that?
The EP, Brian.
Technically diplomatic protocol, First Lady.
We owe you the respect, Madam First Lady.
Jill Biden, the current First Lady, has faced increasing scrutiny and criticism, leading to a decline in her approval ratings and a growing perception of her being difficult to work with. Her tenure, marked by her continued career as an educator and her active role in various initiatives, has presented unique challenges both for her staff and the administration. One contributing factor to the perception of Jill as difficult is her decision to continue teaching at Northern Virginia Community College while simultaneously serving as First Lady. This unprecedented choice has been both praised for its dedication to education and criticized for potentially dividing her focus and complicating her availability for traditional First Lady duties. Staff members have had to navigate the logistical challenges of balancing her teaching schedule with her public responsibilities. Additionally, her strong advocacy for community colleges and military families has put her at odds with political opponents and has led to some criticism. Her efforts to secure increased funding for community colleges and her involvement in education policy have been met with resistance, contributing to tensions within the political landscape. Critics argue that her influence on these issues oversteps the traditional role of the First Lady, while supporters believe she's using her platform effectively. Reports of high expectations and exacting standards within her team have also surfaced, contributing to a perception of her as a demanding figure. But despite these challenges, she continues to champion important causes and maintains a significant public presence. Now it's time to hear from you. Who's your favorite First Lady of all time? Let us know in the comments section below.